Hello, my friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kaya Ann. I'm a yoga instructor, practitioner, flexologist, and I'm a podcaster. I host my own show called The Perfect Prana Show, available on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Each week, I have a yoga theme where I talk concepts and I make these yoga asanas to go along with those concepts. This past week, the theme is rest. Um, I reported on a few of our fellow yogis that passed on, and I really wanted to tackle the topic of rest because I had a few things to say about it. So I am going to talk the concept right now. Feel free to skip along to the items that you'll need for this practice. And so for those of you that are staying to talk about the concept of rest, I'm going to try to do this quickly. I brought my notebook because, again, I'm going to do this quickly. I'm about to take a yoga class in a minute, so that's why I'm at my home studio right now. So I did write down a little bit about what I had to say. A lot of people come to yoga to rest or to take an easy or to restore or to relax. It's deemed as more of a soft girl workout, if you will. And it can definitely be all of those things. Yoga can also be very demanding and require a lot of strength, and literally the opposite of that. So it is what you make it. Personally, I lean more toward the demanding side and I want to move. Um, or at least that's what I've been more like these days. But I do appreciate the restful aspects of yoga. And, we all need rest. It's not something that we have to earn. You don't really have to do anything to rest. It's just something that we need. You're either going to take your rest consciously or life is going to make you rest unconsciously. And I think it is very nice to have a conscious rest and to really make peace with that. Something else I wanted to talk about is Shavasana, because Shavasana is one of the most loved aspects of yoga because it's so restful. And Shavasana literally translates to corpse pose, which is actually a little controversial. Some people don't practice yoga and they don't practice something like Shavasana, and particularly because of the name, and they think, hey, it's kind of messed up to be mimicking death and to talk about this topic of death and to, they might say, glamorize death. But I've really put some thought into this, into why we practice Shavasana and the meaning of it. I've looked up different reasonings, and there's a lot of elusive reasonings for why Shavasana. Why is it called corpse pose? Why are we mimicking a corpse? Why is that something that we want to play with? And, you know, yeah, death is a very uncomfortable topic. A lot of us want to avoid it. We don't want to play with it. We don't want to mimic it. And that's understandable. I want to live. Most of us want to live. And that's a good thing. We should want to live. But an aspect of living is death. And it's something that's inevitable. And it's something that's going to happen to all of us eventually one day. There are a lot of different reasonings for why practicing Shavasana. Something that captivated me the most was that it helps prepare us for this very uncomfortable thing that a lot of us are scared of. And I know that I'm scared of it. I'm scared of it for myself, and then I'm also scared of it with other people. Like, I don't want people that I love to leave. But again, it's just something that's going to happen. Life is always moving. Even when we're being still, we have very subtle movements. And the stillness of death and the finality of it, it is scary. And yoga, in particular Shavasana, is supposed to help us cope with that. That was the reasoning that captivated me the most. It was like, I never thought of that. Shavasana is helping us make peace with stillness. A lot of us say rest in peace, but I don't think that we actually mean it because A lot of times when people are leaving this earth, when they're dying, it's not peaceful. It's not a peaceful thing for their loved ones. It's not a peaceful thing for them, even. It's something that's just a very harsh transition to go through. Again, most of us want to live and we want our loved ones to live, but resting in peace to me means letting go of what we don't have control over. So I'm going to do the best that I can to live the best life that I can live, but I also have to make peace with something that I just can't control. Again, death is inevitable. Some things to note is we will need 2 blankets for this practice. This also might be a good time to pause the video. I burn an incense behind me, so you can burn an incense, you can light a candle, maybe you can pick up your space a little bit. If there's a coat on your couch or there are things all over your floor or everything's in chaos around you, then maybe, pick up a little bit. When somebody passes away and we want them to rest in peace, we create a beautiful shrine for them. We create beautiful graves, beautiful urns, and things to hold their ashes. Like, we truly want them to rest in peace. And I think that we should be able to rest in peace now while we're alive, not wait until somebody is decorating our tombstone. Like, let's rest in peace now and just try to make this environment as peaceful as possible. And then also something to note is we will be starting this practice with a little bit of heat building. And again, I'll put the timestamps in. So if you want to skip that part, feel free to do so. Personally, I find it easier to rest after I've done some movements and built up a little sweat, but it's not something necessary. Again, you don't have to earn rest. You don't have to do it. You can leave that part out or modify it however you want to. And then also dress cozy. It's winter time right now. We're almost winter time. And I find it really hard to rest if my feet are cold. Usually I say don't wear socks during a yoga practice, but this time I recommend socks or just, have your legs covered. I put on leg warmers because I want to be peaceful. I want to be able to just relax and let go and just not be hindered by any discomfort. Again, we'll need 2 blankets, and if you don't have 2 blankets, maybe 2 towels. You could use those as well. So yeah, let's just get on with the practice. We'll start this practice in child's pose or prone position. My friends that are practicing child's pose, you could take your knees wide apart or keep them together and send your hips back toward your heels. Stretch your palms forward. Keep your elbows lifted, making this a bit of an active child's pose. And just focus on your breath. My friends that are practicing the prone position, of course, just stack your forehead on top of the back of your hands and focus on your breath for a few moments. This will be a short practice. The next portion of practice will be our heat building section, so feel free to skip it or modify it however you need. But if you would like to practice it, then come into tabletop position, tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back into space, downward facing dog. Make sure that your fingers are spread wide, your toes are pointed forward, your feet are hips width distance apart. Maybe alternate bend your knees or push your heels to the floor for a hamstring and calf stretch. Next, we'll be doing 10 down dog to planks. Move at the pace of your breath. So your next inhale, bring your chest forward, shifting into a high plank position. And exhale back into your downward facing dog. If you notice that your shoulders are coming over your wrist, then walk your feet back a little bit, creating distance from your hands and your feet. Modify by doing a tabletop instead of doing plank position. And maybe put a slight bend in your arms and in your knees in your plank position to really activate your core and to really use this portion of practice to build heat. Remember to match the movement to your breath, and as you're extending, you're inhaling, and as you're going into your downward facing dog, you're exhaling and pulling your belly button in. When you come to down dog, maybe try to shift the gaze to your belly button, and when you come into plank, shift your gaze forward at the top of your mat. Try to keep this movement slow and controlled. When you've completed your 10, you can lower your knees into tabletop position. Placing your wrist right underneath your shoulders and your knees directly under your hips. Cat-cow, inhale to lift up your chest, exhale to round your spine. Stay with this movement at your pace, matching the movement and the breath. Press the top of your feet into the floor to take pressure off your knees. Feel free to add any movements, any waves or rolling in this cat-cow. Then we'll transition into downward facing dog again, lifting your hips up and back into space. Bring your legs together as much as possible. Inhale, extend your right leg into the air. Squeeze your right glute. Exhale, knee toward your nose, shifting into a high plank. Place your right foot on the left side of your mat and begin to straighten out your right leg, dropping your hips to the floor. Bring your forearms to the floor and rest in this position for a few moments, focusing on your breath. Bring your attention to the sensations you may feel in your hips, that you might feel with this spinal twist, and make each breath as deep and as drawn out as possible while you're in this position. See if you can take 3 more deep breaths right here. If your shoulders are scrunched up to your ears, then create some length in your neck. If you're holding any tension in your face, then soften your jaw, soften your eyebrows, and just soften all over. Lift your chest, place your hands directly underneath your shoulders. Lift your right hip, transition back into your down dog. Breathe in to extend your left leg into the air, squeezing your left glute, then tuck your knee toward your chest, then place your left foot on the right side of your mat. Straighten out your leg, come into this twisted position on the other side. Resting here for a moment with your forearms on the ground. Observe if there are any differences from side to side, and stay with those long, drawn out, deep breaths. Soften all over your body completely. Release tension if there's anywhere. Lengthen out your neck. Relax your jaw. Relax between your eyebrows. And just take 3 more deep breaths right here. And from here, transition into laying on your back, hugging your left knee into your chest, and then drawing your knee across your body for a supine spinal twist. Keep your left shoulder down as much as possible. Place your right hand on the side of your left knee. Inhale to fill up your belly like a balloon. And then exhale, pushing your knee down just a little bit more. If it feels safe for you to do so, then you can gaze at your left hand. Feel your body melt into the ground with each exhale. Feel your body becoming longer at the limbs with each inhale. 1 super deep breath in, and then 1 more super long breath out. When you complete that breath cycle, transition onto your back with your left knee hugged into your chest. Then straighten out your left leg, hug your right knee into your chest, and draw your right leg across your body for the spinal twist on the other side. Ground your right shoulder down, extend your right hand, bring your left hand to the outside of your right knee, and use your hand to push it down just a little bit more with each exhale, deepening the twist. If it feels safe for you to do so, you can look at your extended hand. Notice the sensations in your body. If there's a stretch along your pec, along your chest, in your armpit. Notice if there's a stretch along the outside of your thigh or in your back. And just stay with those super long, drawn out, deep breaths. Then take one more super deep inhale and then a super long exhale. And unravel from this twist. Hug your knees into your chest and then happy baby. Bend your knees, bring your hands to the outer edges of your feet or grab onto your big toes with your peace sign fingers. And think about having a very flat back, really pressing and grounding your low back down. Maybe slightly tuck your chin to your chest. And just take a few moments to focus on the sensations here in your hips. Point your heels toward the sky and your toes toward the ground. Pull your shoulders away from your ears. When are you the most restful? When are you the most at peace? Bring that to the forefront of your mind and put that answer in a pocket or a folder that'll be easy access for you at any point in life. Then release your feet and you can come to a seated position, however is comfortable. And then this is where we will need our 2 blankets. Fold one blanket up for you to place your hips on, and the other blanket is to keep you warm. And then lie your hips directly over the folded blanket. Create a pillow with your hands. Place your forehead on the backs of your hands. And this will be our Shavasana, our final resting pose. So just rest here, close your eyes. This is not traditionally how Shavasana is practiced, but this is a different perspective of Shavasana that I like. So take these few moments to let each thought, disturbance, distraction, urge pass you with each breath. Let stillness wash over your entire body. And if you feel your mind begin to wander, just bring it back to the present moment.